And now it's time for our U.S. Report regular, former White House Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor at Bondi Partners, Mick Mulvaney. But I want to dive in because you're the real expert on this stuff and get into the nitty-gritty of what's happening on Capitol Hill with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. I need you to settle this bet for me, Mick. Half the people I talk to think he's doing a terrible job, and the other half think he's doing a great job. He got that budget deal through. He's done things like put together a committee to look at competition with China, and so far there's no one challenging him yet for the job. Mick, what is your review of Kevin McCarthy's leadership of this very slim and difficult to manage House majority?
And you say something interesting, there's no challenger. There's not going to be any challenger. No one wants this job at this point, because keep in mind, the way that the lay of the land is that any 5 members of the House could bring a motion to take down a speaker. Would you take the job if any 5 members of the House could take you out of it? Would I take the job? I certainly wouldn't. Here's what I know. I'm actually in Washington, D.C., as you and I chat, and I bumped into a couple of my colleagues in the airport today as I was coming in. They're fairly right-wing, conservative folks who are really upset with this small group. It's a group of about 11 who have decided to go to battle with McCarthy over these procedural matters called rules and so forth. They're actually stopping Republican bills from getting votes on the floor because they're upset with McCarthy. That's the type of thing that can get you in trouble with your own colleagues. If you want to stop what you think to be a bad bill, that's one thing. If you want to stop something that's a good bill, that's a difficult situation. Listen, you ask a straight question, I give you a straight answer. I think McCarthy's doing as good a job as anybody expected. In fact, better than probably most expected from him. Yes, he got those debt deals done. Yes, he got the China Commission put in place. He won the speakership in the first place, which a lot of people didn't think was possible. But I keep coming back to that last issue, which is who else wants the job? So, yes, there's a small group. Yes, they love the media attention. They are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars worth of free media every single night in this country. Several of the members are already talking about running for governors or senators or whatever in their home states. So this is really sort of devolving into a media circus. But at the end of the day, I think Kevin McCarthy is probably going to ride out this wave, continue to be the speaker, in large part, because no one else wants the job.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want the job because I love hosting the U.S. Report. So anyway, there you have it. I'm out of the race. But, Mick, before you go, I got to ask you, too, about Ron DeSantis, because we talk about this every week. He's done a big trip to the southern border now. But how is he going now in the fight to unseat Donald Trump from this leadership position he seems to have in the race for the nomination? It doesn't look to be going too great for him, is it?
Yeah, yes and no. I think it depends on who you listen to, because I listen to the same media sources you do, but then I also have access to some other folks that you might not see down in Australia. And I've seen some data is in just the last 24, 36 hours that shows him closing the gap in Iowa, closing the gap in Utah, another early state. Look, the narrative is that he's come out flat, that DeSantis isn't ready for prime time, et cetera. But you and I have talked about this before. The Iowa voters want to wait until they see candidates face to face. They want to look them in the eye, listen to them in the same room, shake their hands. DeSantis just spent several days in Iowa doing that, and his numbers appear to be going up. I think that's encouraging to Ron. It's not the same narrative maybe the national media wants folks to hear, but on the ground in Iowa, it looks like he's doing better. I'm not sure what's happening in Utah. We'll have to wait to see how that shakes out. But look, we're a long way from the first elections, probably 10 months or 8 months away from the first primaries in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. I think DeSantis is doing everything he's supposed to do. Is he having some difficulty? Yes. Is it his first national campaign? Yes. I got news for you. It's the first national campaign for most of these folks. So there's going to be a learning curve. But I don't write off Ron DeSantis. I don't write off anybody yet. Is Donald Trump still the prohibitive favorite? Yes, he is. Does that mean that other folks don't have a chance? Not by any means.
No, but Mick, you make a great point about Iowa and about the retail nature of politics in the United States, especially these primary contests, which I don't think people in Australia often get, that sort of have to get in front of these very committed voters in some sometimes out-of-the-way places. Mick, thanks so much for breaking that down. We'll see you next week.